So hi everyone, it's Tuesday, November the 8th, and we are moving along in this course. We're almost at the 1 month left mark because it's December 16th that you have to have this finished, and we're at November 8th. So time is moving quickly. Just wanted to give a little bit of feedback, a little bit of updating. This will be a two-parter because I want to do a second one with scripture and reading the gospel of the day, because some of you already have moved forward to the scripture module, and I want to help people be aware of what's left in the time that we have. The challenge I have found as an instructor teaching this in the fall is that we're not all together, and that's really tough for me, even just to do these video posts and to give feedback, and people are all over the place. So I don't know if this is the norm, because again, I don't have enough experience on the online. I've been doing this face-to-face for so many years. In the summer it was different because every day we had to be on, and we just kind of kept together as a group and kept moving. So if you are behind, please either tell me why. I've been putting out emails, giving people updates. I don't really hear back from a lot of people. I'm going to be a little bit more aggressive now. I'm going to put out more emails, maybe make some more phone calls for your sake, because when we come down to the end, and if I have to give an incomplete, that's going to be really hard for me, because we all work so hard and it's tough. I'm finding it hard to come home every day and to log on and do this. So I'm sure you guys are all finding it challenging too. But this is what we signed up for, all of us, including me, so let's get going. So let me just give a little bit of feedback on Module 4 for morality and ethics. I gave you guys on an email sort of what the pressing top 5 issues were for everybody. Just want to comment a little bit on human dignity. That is the starting point for the church, for anything that it has to say to society, not just the Catholics. And we got to really remember this, okay? So I'm going to try to give you a sort of a nutshell lesson on morality and ethics in the church and conscience and human dignity. A lot of the issues in the Dropbox assignment, you guys had to do the slideshow. I know I'm still missing a few. I still have to mark a few, but I've marked all those that have come in. This is where I wish we were in class, because it would have been great to show these and have that discussion in class, because it's really tough to do these really important moral topics and to give feedback in a little bit of computer space, and it's hard to articulate all the different things. But this is sort of where the group went. Majority of the group went abortion and poverty in terms of their topic, and then homosexuality, same-sex marriage came in after that. And then I had one person do Laudato Si, the encyclical that Pope Francis put out on climate change and being stewards of the earth, which is really important. Refugees, euthanasia, and suicide. And to unpack, these huge moral topics regarding the church, again, I find it really challenging on an online. So here we go. I'm going to try to do it in a nutshell. So the starting point for the church is always the dignity of human life. So the church is never going to move quickly or forward on any ethical issue that we come up with as a society. This is why the church has lots of people working on this. There's a lot of priests that are researching, that are doctors, lawyers, all walks of life. We have people in the church working and looking at the issues that affect human life and human dignity. So the church, when something comes out, the church is not going to just jump on it like a fad and say, okay, let's go, we're going to do this, we're going to keep up with society, and we're going to move forward. Absolutely not. The church is going to do the research. They are going to do it slower than we like, because human life and human dignity cannot be on the fast track. It can't move as fast as Apple and pharmaceutical companies who want to make a buck. The church doesn't want to make a buck on us. They want to preserve our life and our dignity. So for example, pharmaceutical companies will put out some drug that was loosely tested, or they've paid off someone to get the approval, and then they put the drug out. And you hear this particularly in the States when you watch the American channels, and you've got the lawyers making those commercials about, if you've used this drug and you've had these side effects, or, someone has died, call this number and we can help you get a settlement. This is what they're doing. We are the human guinea pigs, and the church is not going to allow the church to use us as human guinea pigs, and that's why they're much slower. They're going to do the research. They're going to go and see what the effects are on human life. And so don't ever expect the church to move as fast as everything else, because human life and human dignity has to take cautious research and thought and reflection in the process of what the church is going to say. And they've done this for a while. And you guys that did the research, it was over 100 years ago with the Industrial Revolution, and the church started to look at the injustice of the worker in our sort of industrial revolution age, where workers were not being treated well, bad conditions, all those aspects that we know about. And the church spoke up. And the church put the documents together, and they continue. Pope John Paul II put out the document on human work, the value of human work. When I go to the Dominican Republic, I see that violation all the time. Those poor Haitian people working in the sugarcane fields. Disgraceful that humanity allows the abuse of human life to that extent to make a dollar. And we just have to look around in our own country. It's happening under our noses as well. The disrespect of human life in our economic world, and the desire to make profit and money is really terrible. And in fact, today's gospel reading does touch on that, so it's perfect. I love when the gospel works with what I need to say. So it's really important that you understand that in terms of moving forward in your faith development and knowledge as a Catholic teacher, and understanding when the church comes out with a document. Don't just criticize it. Don't take what CNN or any other news station is going to summarize for you. Read the document. I always say this to teachers when they have an issue, and we're discussing this in class, and they have issues with where the church stands on certain things. And it's like, okay, tell me, did you read the document on this? The answer is usually no. You know, and for something like even the Laudato Si, the document that the Pope put out on the environment. I gotta speak. Someone like David Suzuki, is not even a Catholic, is not considered religious, has read that document like 4 times, and apparently what I've heard is he's cried after each time he's read that document. And there's so many versions of a papal encyclical that comes out. The full version comes out, which is really heavy, really hard to read. And then there's all kinds of different versions that come out, and aids to help you read those documents. We need to start doing this. We need to form our conscience. So part of the whole ethics morality unit is really, and you probably learned this in part 1, but we need to reiterate this in part 2 and part 3 as well. We need to form our conscience. The formation of a conscience is not easily done. And that's one of the things that came in with the Vatican II documents in, 63, 64, 65, when we had the change in the church, this huge change in the church that we're still unpacking. Vatican II has still not been fully realized or lived out, and we're still working on it. So part of that formation of a conscience allowed us to take responsibility for making decisions. But we also have to take responsibility for the outcome and the consequences. It just can't be right or wrong. The stuff in the middle, that gray area, is what we need to wrestle with. And when we do make our decisions, we're going to make mistakes. That's why, in our sacramental part of this course, we have forgiveness and healing, because we're going to make a lot of mistakes. We are broken people. And we just live our lives through a series of mistakes. But the whole idea is try not to make as many mistakes that we are potentially capable of, and to kind of offset some of the mistakes we make, we need to think. Moral decision making. Have we read what the church has to say? Have we reflected? Have we prayed? Have we talked to those people who are closest to us that can advise us? Have we talked to a priest? Like, that seems to be something that people don't do too much these days, especially when it comes to issues of sexuality and reproductive, when we can't have children and we're struggling with, do we or don't we go, and pay to, do we go see a priest about this? Do we sit down and try to understand what is the impact of the church's teachings on that? I'd love to unpack that with you guys. I have so much to say on that as well. The church is not off in a lot of cases. But in some cases, we do struggle with what the church has to say, especially issues of homosexuality. Thank God for Pope Francis and what he's been saying about our homosexual brothers and sisters. He's not condemning. He's opening up, the world to bring them into the church. And we need that because we're all created in the image and likeness of God. What part of that do people in the church don't understand? We are all created in the image and likeness of God. Look at me. I'm created in the image and likeness of God. So are you. And if we were in class, we could look at each other and do this little exercise. But unfortunately, you're just looking at me right now. So we really need to get educated on this. I have some great resources here. Richard Sparks is a great moral theologian, and this is one of my best books on morality, contemporary Christian morality. Real questions, candid responses. And that's basically what he does in his book. Pose the questions and give answers. Fabulous, fabulous book to have on your shelf as a resource. Heard him speak? Phenomenal. If he's ever around, you hear that Richard Sparks is speaking on any topic, go hear him. Sign up if it's coming to your school board or there's an opportunity at a conference. Really good. When I taught at OISE, I made sure that this was part of the curriculum. Really small, but it talks about the 12 tough issues and more. So Catholic morality, I thought it was a great resource. Talks about abortion, artificial conception, prolonging life, capital punishment, divorce and remarriage, contraception, homosexuality, social justice, warfare, church membership, priestly celibacy, ordination of women, authority of the church, and conscience. Fabulous, fabulous. Written by Archbishop Daniel Pilcharik. Great resource. Really succinct and helps you understand these important topics. One place we're not moving too forward, I already talked about Pope Francis and his statements that he has said about our gay brothers and sisters, but there's that one part in the church document that's really going to be really kind of a roadblock, where they still call it an intrinsic disorder. And he does use that phrase in here, and that's the phrase that's used in church teachings. And again, I wish I could unpack this with you guys if we were in class together, but you can, connect with me if you want more on that. And that's sort of the thing that we need to, move through. And the same-sex marriage, the whole basis of where the church still believes marriage is in terms of procreation and unity of love and all that. So we need to work forward, just like women in the church, the same thing, the arguments for it too, seem really weak in this day and age as well, that, the disciples were men. Well, really? There were some women in there, but they weren't in the picture. A little joke. The picture, Last Supper. Anyways, a little bit of humor, religious humor there. But that's sort of where their arguments are, and they're not holding water that much these days. So, and again, Pope Francis is reintroducing women to the diaconate, which historically women in the early church were part of the diaconate, and then they were removed down the road in history. Priests used to be married, and then that got reversed in history as well, where they became celibate, dedicated to the church and couldn't get married. So, wow, there's so many issues when it comes to morality. I love talking about it, and this really frustrates me because I feel like I almost have handcuffs on when I can only do a little post like this, and I can't go on and kind of unpack this with you guys. But I will, I think, stop at that. Some great things. That poster, that Angela put on her one of her posts. I got them, look, printed really big. I got big ones for the school and little ones for every homeroom. Next week is Bullying Awareness Week. I thought this was fabulous. And this website that it comes from also, awesome. Offering free things that you can print. And so I got this done at the board print shop. Really nice on cardstock. Doesn't cost much when you take it to your board. And it's going to be a fantastic tool for Bullying Awareness Week and thereafter, as a constant reminder of what we need to do with our conscience. I love this. Fabulous. And what else did I need to say to you guys about this? I think that's it. I'm going to record the next section with scripture and moving forward. And yeah, see you in a bit.